structure and how to set up your own business. You also have homeowners. Okay. There are 4 types that we'll cover. Well, actually, I can't count 5. There's a sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, a subchapter S corporation, and a limited liability corporation. There's actually a 6th, and it comes under nonprofit formation, but these are all for-profit operations, meaning they have a different way of being set up and organized. There's a lot of similarities, but if you guys invite us back, we might tell you. But anyway, if not, we'll work with you on the line, however you want to do it. Okay, what a business is, when you're talking about a sole proprietorship, you have, it's owned and operated and managed by one person. Meaning, what's sole is single. Okay, and it's also known as a sole proprietorship, or someone say, I'm a sole proprietor, or I'm a proprietor of a company. I may sell perfume out of my car or something like that. Or they have a law office, and I'm a sole practitioner in that office, so I'm a sole proprietor. Okay. Oh, you guys hear me? All right, there's certain advantages and disadvantages when we look at that. One of the advantages are similar to the last person, Dr. Iverson, Andy, which he did a great job and was a great segue into what we're talking about now, is that you are the owner. You are the boss. Nobody tells you anything. You make every decision, good, bad, or indifferent. You also receive all of the profit. Any of the money you make, you get to keep. You make all the decisions, okay? You can act quickly. You don't have to take it back to the board. You don't have to take it to 10 different people and wait for something to come back. You say, hey, I'm going to advertise on that billboard over there. I'm going to advertise on the web because I need to get to where my customers are. You don't have to say I have to go back and make a decision. You are it, okay? And so from that, you're primarily pretty free from red tape. You look at the left hand, you look at the right hand, you say we work together. Okay. You usually pay less in income tax than a fully formed corporation. Now let's talk about the disadvantages. What did the last gentleman say if you're an entrepreneur or you're a business person? How often and how long do you work? Right. Until your money works for you, you work 24/7. And even while you're doing that, you still have to conceptualize how you're going to grow and keep up with the current economy, or how things transition and how they change. Okay, so you may have an understanding of what you'd like to do, but you may not have the skills. Remember, Dr. Candy said you have to have skills. So you may have to work for someone to decide what you want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to go, so that you can gain those skills. Everything I ever learned in high school or college, I use every day. It may not even sound like it. When you were talking about water quality, you have to understand chemistry, how it works. And when you talk about scarcity, who are you going to feed first? If you have animals, do you provide water to them first or to you as people? Okay, now if you do that, then what happens to your feed stock? How do you eat? So you have to make choices. Okay, if water is $10 a gallon, do you have as many livestock? Do you think about if you're planning to have children, do you want 10 of them, or do you just want one? Right, that's true. You see how everything ties back to how you make a decision? Okay, you need to have skills and ability. You may not have all the funds to do everything you want, so you're always constantly running on a shoestring. So you can never get ahead far enough for your money to work for you. The other thing is that you bear all the losses. We had a great year last year because it was 100 degrees every day last summer. And it was what's called a long summer. It started in April and ran all the way through October. You bought units of air conditioning the year before when it was cold all the way until August. So you had a significant, you marked them up 200%. If you paid $200 for them, then how much did you pay? If you marked them up 200%. How much did you sell them for? Come on now. If if they cost $200, if you bought air conditioning units when it was cold and they just had something, they weren't selling, so they had, Lowe's or somebody had to liquidate, and you sold them for 200% of that value. How much did they cost? How much did you sell them for?
You bought them for 200, you sold them 200.
Above that, yes. Everybody, are you sure? That's fine. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, so that's profit off of which after you take your costs down. Okay? Now, this coming year is COVID year, and there's nothing you can do. So you didn't prepare. You went on a cruise, you did anything else, you spent your money, you wanted to buy a ticket to fly on the space shuttle, so you put a down payment on it. Okay? Now, you can't even make the next payment because you didn't plan. So what are you going to do with your money? You bear all the losses. You have to liquidate your company. You sell the different things that you have. You can take a second out on you. You may even foreclose on your house. You may have to move in with relatives because you're in an apartment. Anything. That's all of those. That's the dark side of the moon. Okay, and then your business may go away if you don't show others how to grow or come in with it. Sometimes you see families that just one after the other. So because of due to business, illness or death, you may lose your business altogether. Okay. What kinds of businesses are suitable for sole proprietorship? Can you guys name a few? Huh? Okay. What kind of businesses? These are typical. You guys can see that. You can read it. Everybody can read it? Okay. So what do you guys think when you're thinking out of the box? What do you not see of? That would
Art school.
art schools, restaurants, electricians,
Right here.
modeling school. That's a good one. What else?
Chairs.
Daycare. Yeah.
It really doesn't have anything to do with entertainment.
Okay. So so you can see that all of you guys have a good grasp about what different types of businesses, and services there are available. And those are suitable for sole proprietorship. Thank you for sharing those, and if you guys want to write any of them down, I'll update this. Okay, a partnership is just what it says. It's a relationship between a minimum of two people. They join together, they come on, they say, I want to operate for trade or, okay, say that again? Huh? Like Coca-Cola and Sprite, yes, they come together. That's more of a corporation. This is a little bit smaller, but this is the start of something like that. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I'm sorry, you said it right. If Coca-Cola and Sprite came together, that would be a partnership. Right? Thank you. Where's the candy, Doc? Okay, let's talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of that. Okay, remember we talked about skills. You may not have all the skills assets. So if you have two people, one person brings one thing to the table, and another brings another skill set to the table. That's a partnership. Okay, so that, if I pool my money, and my partner pools her money, then we can buy the things that we need that we couldn't do individually. Okay, if my credit is not the best because perhaps I didn't always pay on time. I bought stuff I didn't need. I paid, have you guys ever heard of the $700 Gary hamburger? Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. You never heard of that? Okay. It might be, but I'm sure there are a few here in Alabama and Georgia too. Okay, a $700 Gary hamburger is when you got your credit card when you first went to college. You bought a hamburger and you bought your books and you just only paid the minimum. Kept just adding on, that's got your limit. Okay, now the law says we have to tell you how much you'll actually pay on that hamburger. And do you know what that means? If you pay the minimum on your balance, it will take you sometimes as long as 33 years pay off. When you calculate the cost of a $3 hamburger over 33 years, the interest on that is, it keeps compounding. You end up with a $700 carrying hamburger. Do you even think about eating that? You forgot about it, but you are paying on it forever. So next time you think that you want a hamburger, and you don't have the money in your pocket, or you can't pay it out at the end of the month, do you really need a $700 carrying hamburger? Thank you. That's just the best. Okay. All right. When you talk about that, let's talk about partnerships. Are really relatively easy to establish. Every business that you ever want to do that has to be recognized has to go through some form of government. And we'll talk about that as we move on. The profits from the partnership flow directly to you and your partner. And it's on your, it can be on your personal tax return. Okay. Some of your employees can be attracted, your prospective employees can be attracted because they have an incentive to become a partner. They may say that if you sell so much and you bring in so much revenue, we can make you a partner and you receive a percentage of what you bring in, the gross. You may have to pay to become a partner. There are a lot of different things like that. Some of the disadvantages. You have unlimited financial liability for joint and individual actions of other partners. So if you have a good partner, you both have the same, you have one account, you're supposed to have 2 people sign on the check or on any sort of instrument. One person doesn't do that. He says, okay, if you give them a paper instrument, a check, if they say, I'm just going over to just pick up a few supplies over at the supply store, you say, okay, and you sign it, and you don't know what you're signing, they can liquidate your entire account. So that's a liability. What happens? If you have a family, if you're dependent upon that, or if you're in college, and you're trying to pay next semester's tuition, you still owe that because there's a legal issue until it's all resolved. And that was a lack of trust. It's about ethics too. All your decisions are shared when you have 2 people and you don't agree. What happens? Sometimes nothing. So sometimes you have to have another person. These are things you have to really look at your personality. Can you work with that person? Even if they're the most brilliant scientists in the world, do you have that chemistry? You may not. Okay, and you have to, if you sign a contract, you're part of that, and you weren't there to witness it, you're responsible. That's the downside. Sometimes people say, I looked at this and I thought it was a great deal, so I went ahead and committed us, but they didn't read the fine print. You're still liable because you are a partner. Okay, some of the other things is that the partnership may have a limited life. You may only agree to partnership for 5 years. Dr. Gandy probably can give better information on this. And sometimes the person will say, I put in more capital, so I'm going to take a greater part of the profit. And that you may not view it that way because you may have put in what's called sweat equity. I work that office every day, and you just gave me this money and you come in on 2 days a week. I was there. Those are disagreements that can happen. Okay, you have several types of partnerships. You have a general partnership, a limited partnership, and a partnership with limited liability, and those that are joint ventures. Then you also have a corporation. A corporation, which I had confused with the gentleman here. What is your name, sir? Jamar. Jamar, when he was talking about 2 companies joining, they were considering a partnership, a co-merger, merger. Okay, a corporation is chartered by the state. The business is headquartered. If I want to start a business, and I want to have the best benefits to my advantage, I may want to do it in Texas, I may want to do it in Alabama, or I may want to do it in some place where the advantages are much more favorable to my corporation, which may be in Nevada, or it may be in Delaware. You'll see a lot of companies that will say we're headquartered in Delaware, or we're headquartered in Las Vegas. It's because those states are much more friendly to the type of businesses that are being put together. So you may think that just because I live here, I conduct business here, I want everything in this place. But the laws may not be in your favor, even that you have a dispute. So there are a lot of things that you have to consider. Okay. A corporation is like a living, breathing entity. It has a life of its own. You have to act within it. You're just nothing more often than a molecule, a part of the organ in it. But it has its own life. It can be taxed, it can be sued, it can enter into a contractual agreement. It is owned by shareholders. You are accountable to a shareholder. The shareholders typically elect a board of directors to oversee the major policies and decisions. One year it may say that we're going to give everybody $1 for profit on the share. Next year they say we had a big fire at one of our facilities where even though we had that same amount to offer you $1, we're going to agree to give you, there's several types of shareholders, you the Class B shareholders, 8 cents on the share. But because I'm a preferred shareholder, I may get 58 cents. But it's because the decisions that were made in that boardroom. That's why if you ever look at when you have when a company sends you out a book and it's about 200 pages long, and it tell you everything you need to look at it and see if everything is in your favor to make that investment, because they always say, beware of how to invest or whether or not to invest in this company. It's your risk, because you have to be knowledgeable. I'm trying to do the wrong one again. Okay. All right, when we want to look at these things, they have some of the advantages. Okay, you have a limited liability for the corporation's debt. For judgments, like if someone says that you know, like my daughter, like that thing that happened in Waco, Texas. Remember, there's a big fire. The corporation, the plant exposure for fertilizer. They had 4,500 times the amount that they needed for ammonium nitrate, ammonium nitrate. And they didn't report it. Who do you think, and you're supposed to report it to the federal government? The company is a sole proprietor. He did not report it. Who do you think he's going to, what's going to happen to him? He is going to, he will probably go ahead and become bankrupt, but he will have what are called judgments. You killed my son, you maimed my daughter, my house looks like a pancake, I can't hear. Those are judgments put in place by attorneys. You're going to sue them essentially for those. He'll come back and say, I don't have any money. So you're suing the company, you're not suing him. He's not liable. Because he technically may own it, but he has other people that are operating under him. So that is a protective mechanism. And if you're a shareholder, you can only be held accountable for the amount of investment you've made in your shares. Okay, but that does not hold for officers of the company. They have a different structure. They are held to a higher standard of accountability. Okay, you can raise additional funds, like when you're looking for how we want to put in we want to make an addition onto a plant, we can sell shares. So it's one way of raising capital. We have something that exists and we want to make money through it. Okay. You can deduct the cost of benefits. How many of you guys have health insurance, dental insurance? All of those are deductible. All of those are deductible. So you can elect for a different type of status, an S corporation, which is if you have your IRS taxes, you can do it on your 1040 and do a sub-sheet in there. So you don't have to go through a formal quarterly reporting and those types of things. What's the downside? Because we have more people involved, we have board of directors, how do we have to make a decision? So it's a little bit more time consuming. You're right, you have to go to a group, you have to go back to several layers of management. Can I do this? As a sole proprietor, you say, do I want to do this? Do I think I want to do it? You say yes. So it becomes a little bit cumbersome. That often, when you look at big businesses, when they go through cycles, sometimes they're very profitable, but as they grow, they add layers and it takes a little bit more time to make a decision. So if you have a cell phone idea that might revolutionize everything, but because you're with a corporation, you have to wait 6 months. Well, in 6 months, everybody else has the same idea, so your idea doesn't work. If you were a sole proprietor or some other formation, you can make the money now. Okay. You, as an incorporated business, you tend to have higher overall taxes, but there are a lot of other benefits as well. When we're looking at a subchapter S, is the formation of a company that you can operate and you file it through your regular 1040 taxes. You don't file quarterly, you file every year. And then you can do your whole profit. Everything you do, it's just that you file it with the taxes. All right, then you have an LLC, which is a limited liability, and it has a lot of the features of a corporation. It's a little bit more complex to provide than just a regular incorporation process than a general partnership. Our members, owners are members, and they also have a certain life. When you file an LLC, you may say you want to be in existence for 20 years, and then at the end of that, you have to refile. Okay, you can have only 2 of the 4 characteristics that define a corporation. And you have a limited liability to the extent of assets, continuity of life, meaning how long you want to live, or the centralization of management, and free transferability of ownership between them. What are the 4 types of businesses? We have a manufacturer. What is a manufacturer when you think of that? What do they do? That's correct. Assembly of products. A wholesaler who does what? They sell items above they are the equivalent of a middleman. So everybody takes a cut. They buy it from the factory, they sell it to the retailer. They keep marking it up. Everybody gets some. Okay. And the retailer is the next level. So, yeah, store operations of those types. That's right, everybody. Now, service operation. We talked about some of those before. U-Haul is good. When you're talking about a service, it's something you do if you want haircuts, web design, those types of things. But that's good. You're really engaged. Okay. What does it do? Back to what we said, manufacturing, it doesn't makes or processes a good raw materials into a finished product. Okay, you can create or invent or fabricate the product. Okay. They start with the lowest form of element that they need to create a product. Then they manufacture it into something to which they may sell directly, or they sell to a wholesaler who then sells to a retailer. Okay. As we said, the wholesaler buys goods, okay? He is a middleman, or she is a middleman, and then they turn a profit, and they don't have to deal with the storefront aspect of it. Retail, you end up buying and dealing with purchasing inventory for sale directly to consumers. What is it in a retail business that you have to consider that a wholesaler may not? Quantity, things being supply and demand. You may have bought something that looked really hot at the warehouse and it's a flop, so you just have to absorb that. Figuring out that something that may have been really a hit, you only bought a limited quantity and it's not available. You have to think about storage and consumption. They're different things to consider. Okay. Service is a form of business providing various types of labor services and a wide variety of business sectors. So when you're looking at these things, you have to determine what suits you best. What is your personal style? Just like the previous individual, Dr. Iverson Candy, He said, if you're not 10 o'clock in the morning service, don't try and open up a store that provides breakfast. Right? You might be better off offering midnight lunch. Okay? So know who you are, know what you do. It's not always about money, it's about being, and money comes from doing what you like and being the best in the area of what you do. Give it some thought, do your research, and weigh the options. Are there any questions? No questions?